Public outcry grew too loud to ignore, forcing the mainstream media to finally acknowledge what they've denied for years. Mysterious planes crisscrossing the skies, spraying chemicals over cities and poisoning the population. But don't be fooled, they're not telling you the full story, they're dodging the real questions. What are these planes really doing? Who is flying them? Why is nobody talking about the toxic, mind-altering chemicals they're dumping on population centres? And most importantly, who's pulling the strings behind all of this? Thanks to the collapse of the deep state's facade and the relentless investigative work of the CPV community and our partners, we've uncovered the truths they fought tooth and nail to keep buried. But as the deep state crumbles under the pressure of the Trump administration, long-buried secrets are finally spilling out. Secrets they never thought would see the light of day. Like this. USAID, an agency that claims to be humanitarian, has been paying George Soros tens of millions of dollars of taxpayer money to interfere in US politics.
They gave $27 million to the George Soros Prosecutor Fund. So our own government is funding this left-wing lunatic who is hiring the most insane prosecutors who are letting people out of jail who commit violent crimes.
And that's exactly how this racket worked, is that the ability to tax the American public and then effectively get us to pay for being propagandized, for being surveilled, that's the game.
But it doesn't stop there. USAID has been funding the spraying of the American population with chemtrails. Not for your health, not for your safety, for control. They've allocated $2 million, your hard-earned tax dollars, just to spray the citizens of Idaho with heavy metal toxins. This is not some wild conspiracy theory, it's a conspiracy fact, backed by contracts that are signed, sealed, and locked in until 2027. And that's just one state. If Idaho alone costs $2 million, how much are they spending to poison the rest of the country? How many more states? And how many more lives are at risk? But here's the most disturbing part. Congress didn't just know about it, they approved it. A 5-year plan, fully funded, passed without question, ensuring that the spraying will continue uninterrupted through 2027. Think about that. They're not planning to slow down, they're planning to expand.
This is another one of those conspiracy theories that came true. Geoengineering is a real thing. There has been testimony in front of the United Nations. People like Bill Gates and people in government are using geoengineering, which means spraying chemicals out of airplanes in our skies, things like aluminum and barium that are toxic.
And what is the purpose?
To dim the sun. One of the sources of all life on the planet. They want to dim the sun. Aluminum is toxic to all life forms. It has no biological function, use, anything. And it's neurotoxic. They are spraying neurotoxins on us that we can't avoid, that then go into our crops, that are taken up in our rivers and streams, and therefore irrigation water. It's one of the most blatant, flagrant violations of informed consent that's ever existed.
Dimming the sun, that's the cover story. That's what the mainstream media wants you to believe. They'll tell you it's all about fighting climate change and protecting the planet, but that's just a smokescreen. Behind the scenes, the global elite are using the so-called climate crisis to justify their darkest agendas. Population control, social manipulation, and yes, chemtrails are no different. This isn't just about saving the Earth, it's about controlling the people on it.
Researchers from geoengineeringwatch.org were able to acquire a NOAA flying lab, which is just a plane that's set up for lab testing of the atmosphere. And what they did is they took this plane up right into one of these guys and took samples from beneath it, inside of it, and above it. And they found exactly what they were expecting. With that test, they were able to confirm that, in fact, they are spraying into our air a whole array of heavy metals, including aluminum, barium, and strontium. So what does this mean for us? They don't really care. Exposure to these kind of heavy metals are linked to things as small as cognitive impairments in children, like behavioral issues, sensory issues, ASD, or even ADHD, all the way up to conditions like Alzheimer's and even cancer.
But the people are waking up. They're rising against this criminal conspiracy. Thanks to individuals like you, those who refuse to stay silent, who've spread the truth far and wide, the lies are crumbling, and the pressure is building. People everywhere are standing up, speaking out, and making it harder for these criminals to operate in the shadows. What you're about to hear is a transmission from a white hat pilot reporting an unidentified aircraft. The plane is dropping contrails without clearance, no flight plan, and no identification. At the same time, insiders with first-hand knowledge of the industry are stepping forward, blowing the whistle on the government's direct involvement in spraying its own citizens.
Chemtrail truth here. As most of you know, we're selling the plane, so we're not getting paid out anymore. This plane has been certified to use the chemtrail fluid DK5812. And so it holds 50 gallons in each tank here, and then the fuel goes in this one. And then right in the exhaust, just right up here, there's a injector that sprays the fluid when you turn on the switch. And the switch, it won't spray fluid unless the engine's running because it's like real toxic chemicals. So it needs to make sure like you're in the air. We get paid about $10 a gallon to spray the stuff. And this has a government issued retrofit kit. And you can see down here, they installed this switch. As you can see, it says chemtrails. You just turn it on and then you just collect money. That's how it works.
This isn't random. It's not a series of isolated incidents. This build-up, everything we've been exposing, is part of the final phase of the conspiracy. A phase designed with one goal in mind: total mind control and the systematic enslavement of the population in 2025. We're not talking about some distant future or hypothetical scenario. The timeline is real, the agenda is active, and every piece is falling into place right in front of us. When we come back, we'll break down exactly how they're planning to execute their agenda, and more importantly, what people across the country are doing right now to disrupt their plans and fight back. For decades, the mainstream media has insisted that chemtrails are nothing more than a wild conspiracy theory, pushed by so-called tinfoil hat wearers who deserve to be mocked and ridiculed. Fast forward to 2025 and something has changed. The mainstream media is no longer being told to ridicule the so-called conspiracy theory. Now, they're being instructed to act like everyone has always known about chemtrails, that they're perfectly normal, harmless, and in fact beneficial. But we know that's just more gaslighting. Farmers across the United States are reporting dramatic changes in soil composition. The amount of aluminium in the soil is 5 to 10 times greater than just last year.
We grow over an acre worth of just garden. So what I'm trying to get at is something's not right. There's two things that ain't right. The amount of aluminum in our soil now is 5 times to 10 times higher than it was even last year.
This is why more people are rising up against the criminals behind this conspiracy, including those within government agencies responsible for crimes against the people. According to USAID whistleblower, Bill Gates is behind the tens of millions of dollars, possibly even more, being funneled through government programs with harmless sounding names. But don't be fooled. The true purpose of these funds? To spray the public. This isn't speculation, it's a coordinated operation hidden in plain sight, disguised as aid and research, while poisoning the very people it claims to protect.
Have you noticed it? The grayish pallor. It's not just one or two people. It's everywhere. Your friends, your family, even strangers passing by. Their skin looks dull, like the color's been drained right out of them, like life itself is fading from the surface. And the way they talk, it's different now. They speak in flat tones, like they're just going through the motions. No spark, no emotion. It's like the light behind their eyes has been switched off. And you tell yourself, it's just stress, it's just the world we live in. But deep down, you know that's not it. It's the chemtrails. I worked inside USAID. I saw things I wasn't supposed to see. Contracts, memos, internal briefings. This isn't some accidental side effect. It's not an unintended consequence of climate intervention. It's intentional. A calculated operation designed to suppress, to control, to drain people of their will without them even realizing it's happening. Bill Gates isn't just involved, he's in charge. Total control. He's got access to tens of billions of taxpayer dollars funneled through programs with names that sound harmless, even helpful. But behind the scenes, that money funds the planes, the chemicals, the logistics, the entire system designed to keep the population passive, compliant, numb. They want you disconnected from your own instincts, from each other, from the very spark that makes you human. They don't want you asking questions. They don't want you noticing the patterns. They don't want you feeling anything deeply enough to resist. And here's the worst part. They count on your denial. They rely on it. Because as long as you shrug it off, as long as you convince yourself it's nothing, they win. But once you see it, really see it, you can't unsee it. And that's where it starts. That's where we fight back.
We've exposed the ringleaders, the ones funding and orchestrating the operation from the very top. But it doesn't stop there. The individuals carrying out these crimes can be held accountable too. Take this brave woman, for example. She caught 2 chemtrail pilots in the act, spraying toxins from 15,000 feet, poisoning the very air her family breathes. She didn't stay silent, she took action. And her story is just the beginning.
Hi. Yes. Great. Thank you. Good to see you. I'm here. You're Tim, right?
No.
Oh, no.
No. I don't know a Tim.
Jody?
No, don't know. Well, I know a Jody.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jody Fisher?
No, yeah, I know Jody Fisher.
You do? Okay, good.
Yeah.
And then who are you?
I'm one of the other captains.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So, come on outside. Or not. Or just whatever. Are you free? No?
No, I gotta reflare.
Okay, so
stuff, but
I have paperwork for you that I want to give to you. So
Okay.
hang tight, I'll go get it. But then, we've been trying to reach Jody and you for a long time.
Okay.
And we are tired of you dumping heavy metals all over our county.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not the one to talk to about that.
No, but you are. But you're the one that's doing it. So I've been taking rain samples. I have over 20 samples. And every time you fly, we get high amounts of aluminum, barium, strontium, titanium, magnesium. So I want to know, are you aware of what you're doing? I know you think it's like to increase water supply for Turlock and Modesto, but it's not really happening.
Yeah, you can talk to them
I've tried.
about that.
I've called them, and they're not calling me back. So we're now getting really involved, and now we're going to bring something legal against your company.
Okay, well, you can talk to them about that for
I know,
sure.
but
So.
I want you to know, though, like, we are real people underneath what you're doing. You spray right over our houses. We hear you. We know you. We see you. We're watching your planes and your patterns, hey?
Yeah,
It's twice today now. You did 2 flights. 2 3-hour flights.
It's public knowledge, yeah.
It's not really, though. That's the problem. So you have not properly notified our board of supervisors about this. Hi, are you the other pilot? Yes. Hi, what's your name?
Khaled.
Khaled?
Yes. Yeah,
Okay, hi.
It's not our... We have people at home base that you can talk to about that stuff.
But they have not called back. So now we're getting to the point where we're getting our supervisors involved. So the supervisors of our county needs to be notified. They've not been notified. You've been doing this for 30 years. I know it's a long time. You guys are like, it's cool, it's easy. We're talking about all of the metals and the flares that you're using. So aluminum and zinc propel the silver iodide. You're spraying right over us all the time. And our plant life is suffering. They are now selling aluminum genetically modified seeds to grow food because our soil is so contaminated. Okay, so what you're spraying is not good for the environment. And it's not good for the people because there's an early onset dementia, there's Alzheimer's, things are starting to happen to people's health. And I really do believe there's a linkage to what we're breathing in the environment every day. And you guys spray us in November through April. It's your yearly contract. I'm aware of that too. So I just wanted to meet the pilots and say, where's Jody? I've called Jody, I've talked to, I think Leslie was the other one, Leslie Fisher? No, it's another Fisher.
Yeah,
Lisa?
probably his wife.
Okay,
but,
yeah.
Yeah, no, that's their responsibility. That's not our responsibility.
I understand, yeah. But the money that you're receiving to do this is coming from, is it taxpayers that are paying for this?
That's not my department.
I want you to be aware. Do you have family?
Yeah, I have family.
I have family too. I have children. So we're outside and we hear your plane over us all the time. And I've been tracking this for a long time. And we have tried to get the supervisors involved and they're clueless. They were not informed. According to the California codes and law, they should have notified our supervisors because you're doing this to benefit TID. Okay? But it's not. It's happening over, well, it might be, but it's happening over our area. Okay? Sonora, Groveland, Coulterville. You're doing your little figure eight loops. My 20 rain samples will show you that on the days that you're spraying, or releasing your flares, we have copious amounts of aluminum, magnesium. There's been some barium, strontium, but titanium's weird. Is titanium also in your flares? Okay, that's unique for me. So I want you to know that there are health impacts and impacts to the soil and the plant life, and all of those things. And when you do this, my whole community's watching. We don't know what to do.
I understand your opinion.
It's not an opinion. So I will show you my samples.
I don't want to see your samples.
Why is that?
You can take those to my
you're flying the plane.
Cutting off the money supply through USAID seems to have temporarily stalled chemtrail operations. At least, that's what eyewitnesses across America are reporting. But while this is a step in the right direction, it's not the end. We can't afford to get comfortable. We must stay vigilant, because when operations this big get disrupted, Those pulling the strings don't back down, they adapt.
And I want you to look up right now. Look up in your skies right now. Do you know what I don't see? Is any fucking chemtrails. There are rumors out there that even the chemtrails were being funded by USAID. I want to know from anybody out there, does anybody see any shit in their sky? Because I have not seen a clear sky in years. There is not one. Nowhere to the horizon line are there even a single fucking chemtrail. Did we really just cut the head off the fucking snake? Are things really going to turn around?
It's not just in the US. It appears USAID money was funding pilots to spray chemtrails over populations in Europe, which have also reported clearer skies since the funding cuts.
I'm just walking along and I'm looking at the sky, and there is not one chemtrail in the sky, and it has completely changed. Like, can you imagine if it was rainy today? The princess dresses are back, and I just feel so happy. Like, nobody can take this happiness away from me right now. This is the difference that sun makes in our lives. Like, we need sun. It gives us vitamin D, which is the happy vitamin, and it just makes us happy. Serotonin. Who's ready to take down the government with me, guys? Come on, let's do it.
There is even more hope on the horizon. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., once confirmed as head of the Department of Health and Human Services, has vowed to end what he calls the crime of chemtrails. And let's face it, we can't get him confirmed soon enough. Here at The People's Voice, we're determined to continue exposing the crimes of the globalist elite, but we need your help.
Przypominamy, że na naszym kanale nie ma płatnych reklam i jeżeli uważasz, że robimy coś wartościowego, to możesz wesprzeć naszą pracę poprzez datek dowolnej wartości. Możesz też nas wspomóc, odwiedzając sklep partnerski KILLUMINATI, który oferuje odzież, literaturę dla wszystkich przebudzonych. Jest to świetna forma wyjścia z przekazem poza internet. Linki znajdziesz pod filmem. Pozdrawiamy, KILLUMINATI Team. Dodaj łapkę w górę i subskrybuj nasz kanał. Pozdrawiamy, KILLUMINATI Team.